Who is, I'm reading your official bio here, was born in 1986. David left high school.
Which means he's
23 now.
I think maybe you may be the youngest person in the room, actually. He left high school to run technology at urbanbaby.com until CNET Networks acquired in 2006. He spent 2 years at the helm of his development firm, Davidville, before his team launched the publishing platform Tumblr.com. After gaining an instant cult following among artists and new media influencers, Tumblr took on funding in October 2007 from a number of investors who can use farm capital in Union Square Ventures. Tumblr is a blogging platform that allows users to post text, images, video links, quotes, and audio to their Tumblr, a short-form blog. Users are able to follow other users and see their posts together on their dashboard. And I know David will give you a much more interesting view of Tumblr in just a second, but I hope you all join me in welcoming him here.
I have to say that that it was Debbie Steer at her presentation who was saying how much she
love Tumblr.
So and I sort of have been talking about this before, so it all came together. So it's great to have you.
Thank you so much, and yeah, thank you everyone for having me. So yeah, just real quick, I mean, I grew up when, to me, the social web was really coming to light, and in a lot of ways it was really in its prime. I just thought it was as connected as the web has ever been. My friends and I would run home at 3:30. We would all get online in the same chat room. The back channel gossip would be going on over Instant Messenger. We would be emailing each other media because that was the only way to send photos to each other. It was just super, super connected before we all had to go to bed. And I feel like we're just now starting to get back to that, where, you know, for the first time, everyone in this room is in a big chat room on Twitter in, you know, some way or another, right? Where we've gotten back to this idea that we're all kind of shooting out small messages, the idea that we're all connecting and we're all sharing the things that are sort of important to us. From there, you know, from this kid who's just kind of fascinated with this sort of social web experience, I went on to work doing first software development and then increasingly kind of community design and product design for community at a few different companies before I wound up starting a firm a few years ago that was just doing that, building YouTube clones for Viacom, building, you know, one-off like blogging sites that had, you know, extra community functionality baked into it, things that allowed audience members to become contributors, things like that. And I've just always been really fascinated with this idea of community online and the idea that there are really ways to design for certain types of community interaction. So real quick, just to describe Tumblr, this was, you know, well after blogging had pretty much matured as this magazine or newspaper style publishing model where it was, you know, a single column that there could be multiple contributors to, but it was very, you know, it was very much the same design as newspaper, you know, as a newspaper column with a few extra, you know, digital touches like tagging or search, things like that. But what I noticed was it wasn't really changing, at least in the few years that I had been playing around with creating identities on the web and was living in forums and you know, spending time online. I wasn't creating content because that blogging model didn't really speak to me. And you know, as I watched iteration after iteration, as it went from Blogger to TypePad to WordPress, it wasn't really changing along the way. It was just the same sort of model that was maturing. And it was really designed for most people. It was designed for, you know, editorial content where you're sitting down at the end of the day and filling up that big empty text box that they show you with multiple paragraphs of text. Not suited for me at all. Where, you know, all I wanted to do was like link to the neat things I was coming across on the web, post photos of things that I was doing. You know, later as YouTube would come along, it was I wanted to grab that embed code and just toss it on my blog. There was no editorial voice. It was just me. It was just you know, looking through my eyes, seeing the stuff that was important to me. Where if you were, you know, one of my friends who cared about that stuff, that, you know, is a cool thing to be able to see. So that's where Tumblr kind of came to life. It was something I wanted for a long time. I was waiting for someone else to build, and eventually we threw together. And we're thrilled to see some early traction in it. But basically, it takes that big empty text box that you get on WordPress or Blogger.com and turns it into these 7 buttons now. And when we launched, we only had 5 buttons, but now we support what I view as every major form of media. And those buttons allow you to post to your blog. It's still a blog, but the trick is those buttons allow you to post to your blog with the simplicity of uploading a photo to Flickr or uploading a video to YouTube. Or if you want the big full text box, I want to do, you know, multiple paragraphs of, you know, your opinion or you know, what's effectively a diary entry, you can do that too. But if all you have is, you know, a link to a page or something witty your friend just said, you click the quote button and you know, stick that one line in there. And Tumblr takes care of presenting it through a lot of very, very considered aesthetics. So the idea is you don't need to like go to great lengths to format a nice blog post. You toss one line of a friend's like something witty that you read. You toss that line at us, put it in the quote, or post it as a quote post, and we'll present it in a big font. We'll display it nicely. It'll obviously be a quote. We'll format the attribution underneath it nicely, and it removes all of that friction when all you want to do is share those little bits of things that are important to you, the things that you create, the things that you find, the things that you love, all of that. Just can kind of come up there. So that's what this whole system was predicated upon. And some of the more interesting things that, at least that we've gotten a little bit of credit for, that we're still working really, really hard to design are our network and our product has really been designed for positivity from the beginning. The best comparison I can draw is if you go and look at the comments on any YouTube video today, at least most YouTube videos today, it's like, not only is it the Wild West, it's like, if everything in the world had ever went wrong, it's just like the dregs of society that are on there, posting the most horrible stuff you've ever seen. And you really do kind of wonder, like, why does that happen there, but it doesn't necessarily happen on Tumblr? I have a bunch of opinions as to why it does just go so absolutely nuts on YouTube. But the real reason that we've been able to kind of design away from that on Tumblr is a lot of consideration in the way that you're actually creating your identity, the way that you're interacting with the content, the fact that rather than a big prominent comment box, you have that heart next to every post so that you can tell someone that you liked the post much more easily than you can like write a scathing review of that, whatever they posted. So anyway, just it's one aspect, and it's one of the things that I'll be talking about if it's something that you guys think is interesting, just the idea that you can design for positivity on the web. The other piece that's probably more relevant is content is really, really designed to go viral on Tumblr. We took a lot of cues, this is actually one case where we took a lot of cues from YouTube and said, okay, there's something magical about the fact that one of these videos that originates from a YouTube permalink page, right, it's buried somewhere in YouTube, can suddenly become this viral hit. And it doesn't really do it through YouTube, it does it through any page on the web that cares to spread this little video using this clever little embed code. So we thought early on, like, what would happen if we mechanized that process? So that's next to that heart button, that reblog button. And what that reblog button does is takes that thing that you posted that I just think is adorable or brilliant or drives me completely insane, lets me in one click put it on my blog, and if I just thought you were so wrong about whatever you said, I can then add my commentary to it. So it uses interaction as a mechanism to spread content, and it makes it incredibly easy for you to take something that resonates with you and spread that message further. So the content on Tumblr is really just designed to go viral and be seen by as many eyeballs as possible. And what you'll often see happen is one more or less unknown user comes to the table with something just brilliant or witty. This actually happened recently. I wish I had the post handy, but one of our brand new users, I mean, she had registered a couple months prior, had posted a one-liner that was just this incredibly witty remark on, I don't even remember now. It was a great social commentary on AIDS versus the things that people are actually going. Michael Jackson's death versus something like versus the spread of AIDS in the world. And it's just this very witty one-liner, resonated with our community. Within 24 hours, it had 3,000 reblogs. So what you have to understand that means is that it's not just views; those are blogs that have now taken that post, given that user attribution, and put it on their blog. So this is now dramatically compounded the amount of visibility that this one little post gets, but also by the design of this reblog feature, this has now accelerated this user, who's, again, brand new in our community, up to the top of all of our rankings, where she's now one of the most popular users that week, basically, because she is, this one little witty thing she did spread so quickly, compounded the amount of impressions that it received, and accelerated that user up to the top. So just really designed to go viral, and there are a bunch of mechanisms in Tumblr like this that we've either designed or are now experimenting with, designed to what I think, to me, is just really bubbling up content. It's the idea that one little thing can jump between enough nodes before it's hit by one, like, a super peer or whatever you want to call it, one person who has enough traction that it just blows up to the top, and all of a sudden they're the next viral star. The other thing, the other piece of Tumblr is recently we've been getting a decent amount of traction or attention, at least from the publisher community, just because we've had. We're still trying to understand this, and I feel like we have just as much to learn from you. We have a lot more to learn from you guys, I think, than just our experiences with this web stuff. But we've had 8 book deals in the last year and a half, and we're trying to understand what that means to us as a company, what it is about our platform that's allowed that to happen, and just what's unique about those books and those